Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews, and today we're looking at Boku no Hero Academia / My Hero Academia chapter number 88. And wow, a crazy chapter indeed it was. It was something I called. I might not have the biggest audience, but for all those that have watched my video for Boku no Hero Academia that is subscribed, as you know, in the last couple of weeks I said I felt uneasy, there's a good chance he was coming, and this chapter he turned up. It was inevitable that he was going to turn up anyway, but just the way that the direction of this arc were going, that they were easily able to defeat the enemy, meant One For All did eventually turn up. I'm going to give you a breakdown on my thoughts and a few points that I've picked up, that other reviewers picked up, that I watched, and I thought, yo, it's definitely important to bear in mind, and a few thoughts of what's going to happen next. It's going to be a quick review, but without further ado, let's get into that review. So, the chapter in general starts off with a slow build up. We know what's happening because effectively the heroes have taken over. They've pinned back Shigaraki. Shigaraki's backed up, he can't really do much. His last resort was to rely on Kuroshige, the Black Mist dude, who basically was taken out by Edge Shot, who basically can turn his body into paper thin shapes like at the speed of sound. So he was really backed up into a corner, but then we get to see a young Shigaraki going by a different name, Shimura Tenko. He was saved basically by All For One, and it looks like he was on his own. He was in a crappy situation, and when the heroes were meant to save him, they didn't. Not that they knew it was, it wasn't anything like that, I don't think. So they basically failed him as heroes, and he wanted to be saved. So this explains why his motivations are to destroy the hero society, and it kind of looks at that defiantly, saying, what, you come now? Is really? Type of thing. And he's very defiant. That's why it kind of says nonsense and get lost. An interesting point to bear in mind, and this is not something I originally saw myself, I completely overlooked this, but there's a reviewer called Chibi Reviews, and he mentioned something about Shigaraki's name. Shigaraki's name being Shimura Tenko bears the same surname as Shimura, the previous sensei of All Might, who was ironically killed by One For All. So possibly one of the reasons why he was alone was because All For One, the villain, killed his parents. So he was alone, needing to be saved by a hero, to be saved by the villain, because he set that up himself. So you could see how he works, because the villain or sensei or All For One has been a character that throughout time he's manipulated loads of people to kind of get his point forward. So it's an interesting point that's going on. Now, effectively, on the back of this, there's a black sludge type thing that appears around about the time they ask, you're backed up into a corner. Where is your boss? And we get a panel saying, I'm here, and sludge starts appearing, which takes Bakugao, and the appearance randomly of Nomu come. So not necessarily the Nomu that were captured, but Nomu from somewhere else, which basically means that they're being stored in different places and someone has the ability to teleport them. Basically All For One's abilities, right? One For All ability. Now, essentially, some comes up on Bakugao, and Bakugao is taken. Now, is this going to be a situation where Bakugao is manipulated, or is his power going to be taken? So I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment, because we do actually see All For One being introduced in this chapter with crazy repercussions. But before getting into that, there's also another thing that we need to talk about. Basically, all the villains that were taking part in the abduction, at least 5 of them, 5 of them have basically had their real identities revealed, so they can't go anywhere. So the guy that was fighting against Tiger, the guy that was like the Magi that did the kidnapping, the guy that basically followed Stain, the girl, and and even one of the other characters, all their names have been revealed by the police saying, we know who you are, you can't hide. So it's an interesting tidbit that they've all of a sudden got that nice. It helps that they actually did something bad in the first place, but their points being revealed, which I'll touch on later on, means that they're more than likely going to come into the open anyway because of what's going to happen next, which leads me on to another flashback that happens in the actual chapter, but this is 2 minutes earlier because Endeavour is struggling, and basically he's like, I thought you took care of the normal on the phone, is what the police are saying, and Endeavour's struggling because loads of all these Namus are coming out outside, and basically we don't know how powerful they are, we don't know what quirks they've got. All we do know is basically they're struggling, and then we get a flashback for 2 minutes earlier because the question is asked is what's going on your side. It's about Genius, but Genius doesn't respond. We find out why. Boy, we find out why. So 2 minutes earlier, we get a flashback. 2 minutes earlier, it starts off pretty nice and easy. We see the outcome of what's going on with Best Genius, who is one of the top 5 heroes, and basically he and whoever was their mount lady and police force and stuff like that have secured that facility where the Nomus were. Then someone emerges from the shadows. Somebody emerges from the shadows, and before anyone can react, Genius tries to subdue this person. And the very next panel, we literally see destruction, and every single person's been wiped out from that panel. Literally, for meters ahead, just destruction. It's like a cannon went off, basically. Like he did a Kamehameha or something that literally destroyed everything. He's floating, and it doesn't even look like he's moved. It seems like he just, from where he was standing, he did something really so powerful and destructive. They destroyed everyone in an instant. Could it be quite possible that he's taken everybody out but teleported them so he can steal their quirks? Or could he have done that in that instant? We don't know. But when he introduces himself, the one thing that he does say, he goes, I'm sorry Tiger, I couldn't help myself, but the opportunity arose, she had an interesting quirk, I've taken it. So basically this is on the back of Ragdoll. Ragdoll is found to be the lady that was found, was confirmed now, we assumed last week. She was breathing but lifeless. She looked like she was very comatose, as in not conscious. And then we get the confirmation that the power's been taken. Now one of my theories on this is that when taking someone's power, similar to how the consciousness of the previous users of One for All are linked in the memories, subconscious of the new user, I think part of the consciousness of the user is taken. I could be wrong, they're basically just unconscious from the situation. But it could be quite possible the consciousness gets taken when the power gets taken and leaves them kind of in a cabbage state. So that's an interesting point to bear in mind, potentially. So effectively, All for One just smashed the heroes to bits, to the point where Izuku was so scared of the situation. He goes, we were introduced to the All of Death. He couldn't even turn around. It happened that quickly. And basically, One for All is in trouble. All Might is in trouble. All for One is coming, and it's not a positive sign for the heroes. So here's a few things that I think has happened and potentially can happen. He's basically killed all the heroes so far, which means Headshot. Was it Headshot? No, sorry, Genius has been taken care of. Or he could have been teleported and his abilities taken. If he's heading to All Might, there's a good chance he can take out Endeavour, Headshot on the way. Or he can take their abilities too. This is setting up potentially for the death of All Might and a shift back to the dark days for the world, where All for One takes over and it's up to Izuku to get revenge. Because if you look at the previous kind of how history tells itself, there's a lot of concepts here that are linked to different stories. I mean, you got the idea with One for All kind of the passing of the torch, kind of a Jedi thing. You get taught by a master, the master gets defeated, the student must take over. There's that. You get the idea with One for All that there's a linkage to the previous users, and that's kind of like an avatar based type of situation. And then you get this all Orochimaru kind of thing from All for One, where he's picking up kids when they're young and manipulating them and stuff like that. So quite interesting concepts there. Quite a scary idea. A new world order in Boku no Hero Academia is going to set the tone for the rest of the journey. I really do not want All Might to die. I really don't want that to happen. But it looks like it's quite possible, and I'm really not looking forward to it. But that's basically the end of the chapter review for myself. I hope I didn't miss too much. If I have, let me know in the comment section below. And yay me for getting it right about All for One. He did turn up, but with disastrous consequences. I kind of wish I was wrong now. We'll have to wait and see what he does next. I cannot wait. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the chapter and the review. It is nearly 1 o'clock, so I'm trying to get rid of this video as soon as possible, as you can imagine. But as always, have a lovely weekend. You thought I wasn't going to ask. Don't forget to subscribe. Continue to show your support. I've been trying to stay on top of these reviews and quite consistently as well. So continue to show your support. I've got to 51 now, thankfully. So thank you for those who have been subscribing. Let's get to 100 on the path to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. And that magical 100k somewhere in the near future. Peace again. Bye.